Auto insurance can all seem the same until it comes time to use it. So don't get stuck paying more for less coverage. Switch to USAA Auto Insurance and you could start saving money in no time. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
USAA. Vitamin Water was born in New York because New Yorkers wanted more. Like more flavor to go with all the flavor. A refreshing drink after climbing 6 flights of stairs to a walk-up apartment, or standing in the subway station in 100-degree heat. Focus when I have an 8-hour shift, and Triple X after I was out all night at a club. Call Triple X. Drink vitamin water. It's from New York.
Hilton brings you new ways to stay, with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
From the Fifth Quarter Studio in Madison, Wisconsin, you're listening to the Coaching Youth Hoops Podcast.
They're playing
Basketball.
basketball.
Here's our hosts, Steve Collins. And Bill Flitter.
All right, welcome to the Coaching Youth Hoops Podcast. Happy September. I love September. Do you like September, Coach? I love September.
I do.
But you don't live in Wisconsin in September.
No, so it's my September is a little different than your September.
My September is great. The smells.
Yeah, you got the
September,
fall.
The leaves are changing, and it's, it's the best. It's like April. Like I love the changes. Those big changes. There's great.
The big changes are nice. That's what I do. I do miss that. Do miss the big changes.
Like,
you feel like you just accomplished
something. Coach and I had a meeting, a month ago, and we were up at my lake house. And can you imagine the lake house in September? It's awesome.
Yeah,
it's
I bet it's beautiful.
Oh, it's gorgeous, and it's like
I'll be there in September.
Yeah, you will be. I forgot about that. You're coming
back.
For the wedding. You're coming for the wedding. And you can take your kids to Quick Trip. My
daughter loves Quick Trip, so that's the joke you say.
And a lot of meat. You need a lot of meat, a lot of bratwurst.
A lot of bratwurst, steaks.
Coach and I lost weight, and all we ate was meat when steaks and prime rib and. All right. What's today's topic, Coach?
We're going to talk about game day management, and we have just a lot. And this is basically going to be a punch list of things you need to think about during for your game day management. It can be a lot, but it's stuff we take for granted, and we got to just stop and pause and think about it. And again, this it's
before you
just
get into
help
this,
you
I
prepare.
think one of the issues is most of you, it's you. Like maybe you're lucky and have an assistant, but you're the one that has to remember to bring. I mean, that's what I remember is I had that. I don't have other people reminding me of all the stuff I got to do. That's why it's good to have kind of a you need to do. Like I have assistant coaches at the high school level that's their job is like make sure that stuff gets done, and when you're by yourself, it's even more important to have a checklist.
Yeah, and coaches, we've made it easy for you. So before we get too far and forget to mention it, we did create a season checklist for everything, and this is just one aspect that you'll find in there. If you go to coachingyouthhoops.com/season-checklist, again, coachingyouthhoops.com. season-checklist. You can download. It's a free guide. Asks you a ton of questions to help you think through everything you need to plan for the season. This is something I created this because I wish I had it.
Yes.
And I can just go step by step. Check. Did I do this? Yes. Did I do this? Yes. Did I do this? Oh, no, I got to do that. Right. just because I didn't know what I didn't know when I first started coaching, and here I put it all in one document. But you're diving in, and again, this is game. Think about like game day management. This is not game management. So these are some of the things you just got to think about. For example, let's just dive in.
Okay.
Game equipment. Show up with balls, and are they
A good
inflated,
idea.
right? So
Yeah.
yeah, right. First aid kits, right? Do you have that with you? Do you have any anything else you might need? Water bottles if you do that for your kids, or do you have your stats page if you're taking stats? What is your game day routine? Right? What are you doing? I find that eases the kids a little bit if you do the same few things every day, maybe, or every game, eases their mind. We like routine, calms us. What else?
Amen. So, I
Yeah,
mean, from a teacher of 35 years, routine is important. And you could see it during COVID. When they lose routine, they complain about it, but they like it. There's a reason when the kids are little, you have a routine at bedtime and stuff. Yeah.
right. Yeah, exactly. So it's a transition, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And you can use this checklist as that kind of the same way kind of thing. But anyway,
Right.
go ahead.
Oh yeah. Do the kids know all the rules, age appropriate rules, right? That they need to know. If you have a good set of rests, or especially if they're younger ones, they'll help you along on the court. But at the same time, do they know, that they can't step out of bounds or over the line when they throw the ball in, or when can they leave on a free throw? Do they know those little nuances? And you can't enter the circle on a free throw once somebody's, in their shot. So all those little things too, like, okay, go through the rules with them. What else? Who's gonna monitor the pregame warm-ups? Is that you? Do you have an assistant coach? What about game stats? Do you have a parent do any game stats at all? Or now it's so easy, you don't even need your parents. You can just use Game Changer. And if you go to coachingyouthhoops.com, I'm sorry, if you go to gamechanger.com/coaching youth hoops, check out Game Changer to take all of your stats live. All you got to do is really set up a camera and let it go if you don't have a parent who's there. Keeping track of fouls, timeouts, although it's a little easy. I sometimes, as you know, I'm sure you forgot that, did I use a timeout in the first half? How many fouls does,
Right.
Jack have or Jane have, right? Who's monitoring that? Who's doing substitutions? So this is one I got caught up when I was the first time being an assistant coach. I got my hand slapped by the head coach when I saw a player just dogging it, and I'm like, "Oh, you got to go in for her. She's just not getting up and down the court." And he's kind of barked at me and he apologized after, but just, I take care of substitutions. I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. So who's doing that? You have I had my assistant coaches do it too, and I didn't really care once I was the head coach, just because they might see something that I'm not, more eyes, professional eyes on the situation, the better. What about, I call it coaching interventions. Like when a player comes off and needs to be talked to, is that you? Are you okay with assistant coaches doing that?
Right.
Them
And
out?
where where do they go? And do they go get water first, or they walk up and down the bench and slap hands, especially the older kids, or do they sit next to you? I always say they gotta sit. I want to be able to I don't want to have to go find you.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure I have some teachable moments at that point, not necessarily bad ones, but something.
Timeouts too, like who calls it? Well, not who calls a timeout, but the head coach does that. But what happens during a timeout? Do you let your assistant coaches talk during a timeout? What's the routine around timeout so the kids know, have you practiced that? Are they aware of what to do? Not walk over, but run over during a timeout. What's the difference between a 30-second and a minute timeout? How are you treating those different? What's your assistant coach's duties? Do you have those spelled out for them for game day? What about what else? Can assistants speak during the timeouts? How are you communicating with the players on the court?
I think that's a big one. How do you call plays? Do you not call plays? Do you how do you call out of bounds? I mean, all those things I think are important. Developmentally for sure. It's how, are you just going to let them pick an out of bounds play, or do you have to pick an out of bounds play? Giving them the freedom. Where do you give them the freedom? I think some of that stuff is really big.
Yeah. And then post game too, are you meeting afterwards, and how long, and what's your routine around that? Right. And I would suggest to have a routine around post game wrap up with your team. Other little things, my big thing was, hey, we're going to leave this place cleaner than we got here. So even if you go to some of these tournaments and the bench, there's just water bottles everywhere. Right. I'm like, clean them up. Yeah. And they're like, that's not our responsibility. I'm like, heck yeah, it is. Right. It just teaches you discipline.
Well, and I think some of it is reminders too. How are you going to remind them, when they leave a timeout, when at halftime, right. What are the reminders at the end of the game? When's the next practice? I think those things you can't be scrambling and, hey, I'll see you all on Tuesday kind of thing, which is good. You want to set those. Right. Those little micro reminders, I think, are important. So for them to definitely grow as and then it gives them some responsibility as far as what they need to do. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, and then shaking hands. At least I think most people still go up and down the line, shake hands, shake the refs' hands, right? Make sure you acknowledge them. After the game, set those routines with your players. What else, Coach? Anything else we were missing on this long list? I think this is a good teaser.
Think there's a lot of things that we could sit and talk about: routines and game management and micro, and what do you do when you have somebody with two? I mean, there's all sorts of. This is more macro than micro, I think, but give them that again, Coach, so they can
we go into the micro on that list. It's if you go to coachingyouthhoops.com/season-checklist, go check it out again. coachingyouthhoops.com/season-checklist. There's 280 questions that just like we went through, it breaks it all down into parts of the season and different categories, and just a guide to help you think through planning your entire basketball season.
And let's give a big shout out to our sponsor, Game Changer.
Yes, Game Changer is what makes these podcasts free. Go to gc.com/coachingyouthhoops. It's a great tool, great aid, makes your practices, makes your games more efficient, helps you keep track of stats, and your parents, grandparents can see the games live.
It leads into what we're talking about too with game management, because then you can go back and see how was your game management, because you can go back and watch the film. It's a
want to learn to be
too.
Yeah, you want to learn how to be a better coach is watch yourself coaching. That's very humbling. I wasn't yelling.
You sure? The officials. What are you talking about now? I think game.
How was my and it's like my body language. Was my body language positive when your player missed that wide open layup? How did I respond? I want them to respond and say next play, did I? Right. So, Game Changer.
Yes.
GameChanger.com/coachingyouthhoops.
All right, go check it out. Till next week, Coach.
Till next week.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Lowe's knows you take pride in every project. So take on what's next today with a free Select Craftsman hedge trimmer or leaf blower when you buy a 20-volt push mower. That's a $119 value on reliable, high-performance Craftsman tools you trust. For the power to do it all, build, repair, restore, maintain, go with Craftsman. Available at Lowe's. We help. You save. Valid through 5/21 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.